Good morning, guys. Good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the London Session Market Update video. Now, guys, first of all, can you hit that like button? I'd be much appreciated before we get started. And also, if you haven't followed me yet on X, on Twitter, make sure to do so. There's a link in the description down below to my Twitter handle. You will get regular analysis screenshots such as this. For example of there'll be some call out boxes, text boxes, your arrows to give you an idea of what I'm actually looking at. Again, with all this text as well, just to give you an idea of in case you want to take a chart away with you, away from the recorded analysis. I think it's a pretty good reason to follow me on Twitter. So without further ado, guys, let's get moving into today's analysis. Now, let's have a look at GJ. Well, to be honest, I could pretty much just leave these drawings in, these zones in, guys. They're still quite relevant. GJ is in an overall uptrend. Let's do the analysis quickly. Starting at the weekly, obviously it's forming a very strong bullish candle. When I look at this, it suggests to me that any pullback on the minor time frames is likely going to be met by a support to head back up towards the current weekly candle's high, or and retest it, and we'll do with the volume, momentum, potentially create higher highs. Now, the only time where I would start to think otherwise is when we start to see some higher time frame candles closing back to the opposite direction, bearish. At that point there, that may suggest a sign of a potential pullback, but presently, we do not have any indication that price is ready to pull back. So at this stage, I'm still looking for potential buy options. Onto the daily, we've already created a higher low to that previous daily candle. We're in price discovery. Once again, we have not been at these levels since 2015. Got to go a long way back. So I don't even have the data for it. Onto the 4-hour time frame now. Obviously, in a strong uptrend, big push to the upside from yesterday. It's continued throughout the Asian session today. Candles bringing higher lows, higher highs. Still don't yet have a candle even on the 4-hour closing back bearish. So still nothing yet to suggest to me that we could be potentially ready to pull back. Now on the 4-hour, what I'm going to do is mark in this previous support. I'm going to remove this for the time being. What we can see is we've not yet on the higher time frame pulled back to retest that zone of resistance that we broke out of yesterday around at 191.30. So potentially could price pull back to that level? Maybe. Could we potentially get into a counter trend sell to take it back to that level? Let's take a look once we go down to M30 to see what sort of catalyst we want to see in order to look for a potential sell. Now onto the M30, here we go. So it's also technically bullish. Now, right here, that is at the current daily candles low. What we can see is if we begin to close below that point just there, current daily candles low, and seeing we do have a higher low to the previous daily candle, we have no real need to pull back and break our own current daily candles low. We do so and begin to close below the M30. At that point there, we're going to start to flip the M30 structure back. Well, we will flip the M30 structure back bearish, and I think it's more likely at that point we will pull back to retest that resistance, the previous 4-hour resistance at that 191.30 level. So for me, definitely be interested in selling it below that point there, but I need to wait for the confirmation of the M30 structure flipping bearish. Now for further sell options, what I can see is we've formed a support within the current daily candle at this point here. Therefore, areas of support, if we do pull back, we should respect it if we are to continue bullish. Therefore, what we can see is we made a pretty clean move up, a relatively clean move down, very little volume, obviously during the quieter hours when the market's open. And we made a clean move up. Now, if we start to pop below the support form within the current daily candle, there is a high probability at that point there that we're going to head back down towards that 191.90. So therefore, I would also at this point consider looking for the sells below upon a closure below that point there on a counter trend entry in anticipation that we're going to retest the M30 structure at 191.90 to 80. Now, having said that, for the buys, seeing this is a level of support we're formed within the current daily candle, we have no need to break if we are to continue bullish. If we do pull back, respect it, form the right catalyst in price action to look for my potential buy. I would look for my options from above that 192, 250 sort of level. So let's just put buys above that level. You guys get the picture. It's really above that previous, more above the support is where I look for my potential options to buy it. Now, further options lower down, guys, if it does just begin to melt and below into the level below that 192.20 and retest that 190 and we begin to bounce off it, we get the right catalyst from price action, still technically going to be bullish at that point there. Unless I can't get in a sell, I'm just going to be looking for my catalyst to look for my potential buys from lower down, in line with the bias, in line with the structure. Would prefer to see the candle respect the current daily candle's low low. Like I said before, there is no need for it to break its own low, seeing as a high low, higher high to the previous. So they're the options on GJ today. Well, moving into London session, reassess later, moving forward towards NY, pre-NY. So that's GJ. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, quite a mess. Let's, again, these zones are still relevant from yesterday, guys. So I'm just going to leave them in. No real need to draw them up again. The 4-hour zone is still relevant. What I'll do is hide the drawings for the time being. Let's go into the weekly and quickly do the analysis. So weekly, well, still based off the previous. We do have a lower high, lower low. I'm just using counter probabilities, law of counter probabilities, and we do have lower high, lower low. We are pulling back. Having said that, I have no real need to break our own high, so I'm just going to mark that in. Now onto the daily time frame. So we have a, let's just quickly go back to weekly. Have a lower high, lower low. There is no need to pull back to break our own high if we are to continue bearish. Onto the daily, just very choppy price action, a lot of wicks to the downside, bouncing off this previous, previous resistance to the left. Are we going to begin, does this suggest liquidity from the downside? If we begin to break above that previous daily candle's high, there is a high probability at that point there that we could continue to the upside. But we are technically bullish in structure. Very little volume just yet. Looking out on the 4-hour again, just consolidating up near this resistance. Very choppy price action. This 4-hour range is becoming an absolute pigsty, guys. It is a mess. So when I see that, what I prefer to see is a nice clean move in either direction to cut through the traffic, cut through the mess. This will then open up that range yet again and could eventually provide more cleaner options on the lower time frames. So the 4-hour structure is still, by the looks of it, technically bearish just. So we've got the daily is bullish, we've got the weekly is bearish, 4 hours, weekly is bearish, yes, daily is bullish. The M30 structure, it's still technically bullish, impulse to the upside. Let's bring up the drawings again, and we can see it's just in a nasty area of consolidation. So the bias is neutral. Now that is that previous daily candle was high. The current weekly candle is high, So again, it's not the cleanest above that level. So what I like to see is if it is, so for the buy option first, guys, your options same as yesterday, pull back towards that 2,148 so level, form of support, look for your calories and price action, buy it back up. It did bounce off it yesterday. Wouldn't have really given any options, I feel, to trade it though, but that would be still a potential level I look to buy it from. Now I'm looking to see where we form support within the current candle and looking to see what we've got below that level, because if we are to respect support in with the bias in the M30 being bullish, if we are to respect support, we should form another support and head back up. The issue is there is not much margin. We're right up near the resistance. Now, having said that, if we disrespect support and begin to close below it, then we should head down. Have we got any margin though at all? We've got support just formed recently on a previous candle at this point here. I don't feel there's going to be that much margin to the next, no, only 12 pips. Look, it depends if it's around London Open and we've just been consolidating, respecting that 2,156 sort of level, again to pop below it, that could be an option to sell. But I just don't see anything right now on gold. It is an absolute red hot mess. So I would wait for it to create a move. Where it beats the upside, they move up, only to reject. Then you can start looking for your potential catalyst to sell it. Or if it makes the move up, starts to cut through, break through that current weekly candle's high, break its own high, quickly move up, begin to pull back, and retest that 2,163, so level form of support above it. At that point there, I would begin to trust potential buy options. So I'm just going to put buys above. Still looking for my sells below, really within this gray zone, as long as we continue to respect it. That is, excuse me, that is probably it on gold. Not looking very clean at all, to be honest. Now onto GU. Similar to gold, let me just get rid of these drawings. They're no longer really relevant. I'm just going to pull up the chart I've marked up, guys. And again, this is, if you're not following me on Twitter, on X, make sure you're doing so, because you will get, not daily, some days I'm a bit busy for it, but you'll get regular chart markups like the one I've got here today. So this on GU, we can see the bias is neutral. We've got 2 time frames to the upside, 2 time frames to the downside. Within the current daily candle formed a minor support at 127.10. Now, seeing the M30 is still bearish, I would still, seeing the bias is neutral, I would still look for the potential buy as long as we respect that level. I don't feel we're going to have the margin though. So what would make more sense to me is if we approach it and respect it, and disrespect it, start to close below at 127.10, then I see potential opportunities. You could almost get a 1-to-1, albeit 6-7 pips on GU. You're likely to get some very small stop losses. Start to close below this minor support, likely down to 127.30. And if we start to pop below that support, a chance eventually price will come back down to the lows of the 4-hour range around that 126.80. Excuse me, guys, I do apologize. As for buy options, I preferably want to see it create a clean move, cut through a lot of this mess, similar to what I mentioned on gold before. Clean move up, pull back, form a support, whether it be back above that 127.350, or if it makes a clean move up, like so, and then clean move back down. If it respects that 127.15, at that point there, I would also look for a potential buy option. Also at that point there, the M30 would flip back bullish to give us a overall bias back to the upside. That's just quickly on GU. Now let me take a look at NAS. So NAS finally made the move out of that area yesterday, and it's just rejected that 4-hour zone. So I'm just going to tweak this. I want to clean this up, and I want to draw in some new zones. Let's start again, full top-down analysis, the weekly. Current weekly, still trading in high and low of the previous. It is forming bullish. Maybe this time tomorrow, this would suggest to me that we are likely going to close bullish. Doesn't mean we have to. There's a high probability we will. So any pullback, I'd be looking to see where we potentially could form support at to look for potential buys, just based off the higher time frame. Now onto the daily. Structure-wise, still bullish. Nothing has changed on that. Previous daily closed along with the downside, suggesting to me that if we begin to break above the previous daily candle's high, we could continue to the upside, and potentially head back up towards that 21.7 potentially. But let's see what we've got once we go down to the 4-hour. So the 4-hour structure, we are technically, by the looks of it, still just bullish. We are, so the bias is looking like it's going to be to the upside. All right, so let's mark in this zone. I will be tweaking it, guys. I'm just bear with me once I go down to the M30. This is about to form a support on 4-hour. So I'm just going to mark it in. In the next minute, it will be closing the candle. Excuse me, once again, now into the M30. All right, I'm going to tweak this a little bit to the bullish candles, because the bullish candles are the ones that confirm support. So I'm not too concerned by the wick on that bearish candle. Now, to the downside, is that a 4-hour bullish candle? It's not, so I'm just going to drag this up, and that's where I'm going to keep my zone lining up with the bullish candle. It's irrelevant because I'm not going to sell it below that point either way, because you're running into another support. But anyway, so what we can see just now is what I'm going to do, guys. I'm just going to mark in the 2 zones now. I'm going to open up this 4-hour zone, this point here, because above it on the M30, we've got some very clean traffic. So I'm just going to connect it to that point there, the high of the 4-hour range. What we can see in between 18.072 roughly to the highs at 18.141, we have some very clean traffic in the M30. So seeing the bias is bullish, the M30 structure is also bullish. Could almost get some potential early buys, but again, I just don't trust the volume this time of day on NAS. But what we've done within the current daily candle is we've done 2 things. Formed a high, we formed a low. At the low, we formed support. If we are to continue bullish, in line with the structure, this should really pull back to create a higher low, form the support, begin to break above the minor resistance formed at the support, and we potentially look for buys above this level here, 18,016 roughly, to be just to round it up. So buys above that point there. Again, I just doubt the volume at current time. Now, further buy options, seeing we do have some clean traffic above this level here, I'm just going to now drag this up. Further buy options, if we start to close above into the range within the 4-hour zone, the 30-minute range, the clean 30-minute range within the 4-hour zone. So I'd be looking for potential buys above 18,7216 to be exact. And they're the buy options. Now for the sells, just playing it range bound, guys. Seeing we are approaching once again the 4-hour resistance, and if we once again reject it, I'd be looking for my catalyst in price action. If we make a clean move up now, and I get the right signals in price action, by all means, I would look to sell it back down. There is nothing yet to suggest that we're going to create a high within the M30 structure. So if we do reject once again, it will make perfect sense to look for your catalyst to sell it from high up within the 4-hour range at resistance. Now, further sell options, obviously, guys, if seeing this as support form within the current daily candle, the current daily candle is low, we should respect it if we are to continue bullish. If we begin to drop below it, then we're likely, and we've got some clean traffic to the left, what we're likely going to do is head back down further. So there could be options to sell it. Having said that, I'll be looking for the closure below, guys, at least consolidation for continuation to sell it. Now, having said that, doesn't mean I wouldn't be looking for buys lower down. I'm looking to the left. I'm asking myself, where could we potentially pull back to look for potential support to form for our buys? Well, we've got a level really around this area here, around that 17,943 roughly. Previous level of support here to the left will be a level price pulls back to, forms the support at, and gives us our signals in price action to look for a potential buy. If you don't get the option to sell, if it just melts, or you may get the sell option, you may also look for the buy option a bit lower down. So I'm just looking to the left and asking myself, where could we potentially pull back to form a support? Again, at this level here, potentially previous support here or resistance here is another level price could pull back to form that support to head back up in line with the bias and look for potential buy options. So that's about it, guys. I hope you liked this update video, analysis video. If you do so, please leave a comment down below. Make sure to hit the like button. And once again, do subscribe to my Twitter account, my X account, and Instagram if you also have not done so. I should be back probably most likely for an NY update. Yeah, trade safe, guys. Don't do anything stupid. Let me know how you go. And bye for now.